Good afternoon to all of you. Today we are going to start this session on the introduction to soft computing techniques. This subject, soft computing techniques, has been introduced in the BE 6th semester civil engineering by the Gujarat Technological University. Alright, I am Professor Utkarsh Nigam, going to teach you about the introduction to the soft computing techniques. So, as far as the module number 1 is concerned, the starting chapter is concerned, we are going to discuss about the introduction to the soft computing, concept of the computing systems, soft computing versus hard computing, characteristics of the soft computing, why this subject has been introduced, some applications of the soft computing techniques. So this is all about the content of the module 1. But before which we will go through the syllabus of GTU once, that this is one type of the open elective, and the prerequisite for this subject is you must have a mathematical background, because whatever be the soft computing is going on, there must be something mathematics going behind it. All right, and you must have to learn for applying the different soft computing techniques. The teaching and examination scheme consists of 2 lectures and 2 practical sessions, and this subject is having total 3 credits. In this subject, the 70-30 is the theory marks weightage and 30-20 is the practical marks weightage. You will be having separate practical and tutorial sessions which will commence right along with the theory. Alright, so there will be as a whole 150 marks. So this is a complete subject which includes theory and practical as well. So this is the GTU syllabus. The module number 1 is introduction to the soft computing, that we are going to complete it today, in which we will learn about the concepts of computing systems, the soft computing versus hard computing, characteristics and applications of the soft computing. The second module is fuzzy logic. It is one type of the famous and well-known used soft computing technique. Then module 3 is genetic algorithm, in which we will learn about the genetic algorithm. Alright, it is based on the Darwin's survival of the fittest theory. Then comes the artificial neural network, means going for some robotics or some artificial solution based on the human approach. Alright, so this is the 4th module. Then 5th module is the hybrid system. Hybrid means the mixed, means combination of 1 or 2. So whenever the 2 or 3 soft computing techniques are mixed, combined and then collectively used, it is known as the hybrid systems. Alright, so these are basically 5 modules which are being introduced by GTU, such as introduction to soft computing, fuzzy logic, genetic algorithms, artificial neural network and the hybrid systems. So these are the 5 modules. Alright, so now you can see its distribution of the theory marks as well. There are various reference books which are used separately for the, what we can say is the soft computing techniques, for separate book for the fuzzy logic, separate book for the ANN and separate book for the genetic algorithms. But we can also have some book of the soft computing techniques that I will let you know in the lecture sessions or the practical sessions when you can use. If you will use the separate books, you will get more grip in the subject. These are the the course outcomes of the soft computing techniques, that after studying that subject, a student will be able to demonstrate and comprehend the soft computing techniques and its applications. The second objective is to demonstrate the artificial neural network and its applications. Here the word understand is used in the CO2, but means course outcome number 2, but now it has been replaced by the demonstrate, to demonstrate the artificial neural network and its applications. The third is to analyze the single objective optimization problem using genetic algorithms. Able to develop the fuzzy logic sets, membership functions and defuzzification techniques as well. And the 5th is to design and demonstrate the hybrid system for solving the real life problems of the civil engineers. So these 5 objectives, outcomes will be fulfilled after reading this subject. After studying this subject, a student will be able to learn about the soft computing techniques. We will not only discuss the soft computing techniques that are given in your syllabus, but we will also try to cover some other type of optimization and soft computing techniques as well. Alright, these are the term work and experiments that has been given over here. List of experiments, the work in the computational lab given over here. But as you all know, the pandemic situation is going on and the teaching is completely online. So in the lab sessions, we will have parallel, what we can say, the screen sharing options, and I will let you know. You have to install the particular software at that time, and we will do some screen sharing basis. I will let you know all the steps about it. Alright, and what we will do, we will also have some tutorial sessions, and we will compensate it with the practicals and the experiments. So in such a way we will work for the practical purposes. There is also a list of the open source softwares and the learning modules given as well. So now come back towards the content, that is the module number 1, introduction to the soft computing. Then concept of the computing system, soft computing versus hard computing. What is hard computing? It means whatever be the calculations you used to do by the pen and paper or using some Excel sheets. Alright, so that is hard computing. So what is the difference between soft computing and hard computing? Then characteristics of the soft computing, what are the different properties? Then some applications of the soft computing techniques, that also we are going to discuss. Introduction to the soft computing techniques. So first of all, we will try to understand what is soft computing. So before going into computing, we will try to understand the word computer itself. What is computer? Computer is commonly operated machine purposed for use in trade, education and research. It is an acronym or short form. Means the commonly operated machine which is used purposefully in the trade, education and the research. And computing means to calculate. Alright. So this word soft computing is different from the software. Software is meant for a separate purpose, but soft computing is meant for the data analysis and the computations. So computing using the software or techno-computational techniques such as computers or the softwares or any other means. Alright, so that is known as the computing. Here you can see with this block, with this figure, that there is some input and there is some output. Alright, so we are having a set of data that is available with us. In the classroom, I have already told you that there are 3 things that you need to understand very well. Those things are IDF. I stands for the information and intel. Whatever be the information related to any problem belonging to any field of or any subdomain of any engineering branch, you must have that I, that is information or intel. The second option is, the second most important thing is, what we can say is D, that is data. Whatever be the data you are having, that you must have. And then comes the F, is the facts and figures. Alright, so you must be having that IDF, information and intel, data and facts and figures. So these 3 things must be available with you whenever a problem is concerned. That particular thing you will form one input using the data or the information, then you will analyze it using some soft computing technique, and then some solution or output will be given. But why to use soft computing techniques? Why we cannot use the hard computing technique or the manual calculations, or why we can't solve using the pen and paper? That is one of the big question. As you all are well aware about that there are various complex problems, those needs to be solved. Alright, and we are not having that much time available with us. So for solving that particular problem and to come into a solution in lesser time, we must have some type of techniques available with us. So we used to use the computers, the soft computing techniques and the softwares. Alright, So we required some machines which can be useful in the education and research. Alright, so that is what we mean by the soft computing technique. So soft computing means computing using software or techno-computational techniques. Soft computing is an approach where we compute or calculate solutions to the existing complex problems. Already the problems are complex, already the problems are critical, and there are availabilities of wide spectrum of the data, in which the output results into imprecise or fuzzy in nature. What do we mean by fuzzy? Means when we are not 100% sure, means there are two things. When we communicate in the one language, that is yes or no, you have to answer in yes or no, but sometimes in all the questions you cannot give answer in yes or no, you can be some type partial. So this fuzzy means some introduction of partiality in your communication. All right, so that is one of the most important feature of the soft computing technique. Means whatever be the data is available with you, soft computing uses the data which is best suited for your problems. So that is one of the best reason. Computation is actually a process of converting the input of one form to the some other desired output. Input is called as the antecedent and the output is termed as consequent. A mapping function converts the input of one form to the another form of the desired output using certain control actions. Because whenever we are employing soft computing techniques, whenever we are using soft computing techniques, we are having certain data sets and information already being available with us. Means we are having the input sets and the output sets already. So that is one of the important things. So basically the computation, the computing techniques or the calculation methods can be divided into two parts. One is the soft computing, that is the hard computing. Hard computing means whatever we are having anything, we are solving it mathematically using pen or paper, or we are trying to write the algorithms without using the softwares. All right, and soft computing means we are using some certain different type of softwares, all right, in the computer for coming up to a solution. Soft computing is best suited for the complex problems, for the critical problems, or when we are having number of data sets available with us and we are not getting the precise data with the experimental works. So what is the basic use? That it does not require any mathematical model for solving any problem. No model is required by the soft computing techniques. It will directly identify the problem using the data sets and then it will try to provide us the solution. It gives different solution when we solve the problem of one input from time to time. It is adaptive in nature. What do we mean by adapt? It used to understand the situation and the circumstances and then it will apply. So these are the basic three techniques that is being used. Why to use soft computing techniques? This answer is given in this particular slide. Why we are employing the soft computing techniques? Why we are using the softwares? Why we are not going through? Because as per the engineering associations, as per the generals, there are three sectors in which civil engineering is having the advancement. Although civil engineering is a core branch and the wide spectrum of the development occurs in the three fields. First is the design and the planning field in which the development is going through. Alright, the second method is the use of the equipments and the machineries for the construction. And the third is use of the softwares and the soft computing in the research engineering solutions. So that is one thing. That's why we are using soft computing techniques and that's why we are studying this type of soft computing techniques. And the soft computing technique is used whenever you want to do some optimization. What is optimization? In very simple term, the minimum attempt or input is to be given and you have to get the maximum output. Minimum cost has to be given and maximum profit has to be out. Alright, so all the students, you all are well aware that At the time of examination, you are being in an extreme pressure condition. So at that time, you used to do the smart work. You used to study only those things those are having chances of coming in the university examinations. All right, at that time, your mind used to work twice or thrice the potential of your qualifications. All right, so at that time, you used to do the minimum attempts, the attempts those are required to be given to get the maximum profit. So minimum inputs, because when examinations are concerned, at that time, as far as the semester timing is concerned, you are giving the timing at the time of examination only. So as far as time is concerned, you are giving the minimum time, because semester is having 6 months and you are giving the time for study only the 5 to 10 days at the time of examinations only. So it is one of the example of this. The second best example of optimization is, you can see that earlier when there were television serials were there on the channels such as Doordarshan or the ZTV or the Sony, there must be one starting song, initial song, the title track, and then they used to show the recap, and then there were advertisements, and then the television serial starts. But now at this time, at this moment, if you will open any kind of entertainment channel, you will find that the television serial or any show which you are watching, it directly starts at that particular time, because the requirement of the people have been optimized. That's why the particular entertainment agencies and everywhere, even in the market, even in the business, that particular thing has been revised and changed, and that change is very what we can say is disruptive. So that's why the optimization is everywhere, because everyone wants to save the time, because in present time the time is having its value. So minimum attempt or input has to be given and maximum output has to be obtained. So in short, minimum cost and maximum cost. So there are many combinations that may be feasible or not feasible, that may be countable or not, but there may be one or two such solutions which may be best or perfect regarding that particular situation. So that you must know. So there are different optimization technique, right from the mathematics, the linear and the non-linear programming, quadratic, dynamic programming, stochastic is there, and soft computing techniques are being given. What is the meaning of stochastic? Means when there is a change even in the probability, all right, of a particular occurrence of an event. So that is known as what we can say is the stochastic. So there are different optimization technique, and the soft computing technique is also used to do the optimization when you are having number of solutions, or when you would like to find out the solution that best suits your problem. So these are the optimization techniques. You can see the number of lists given over here. So are we studying the artificial intelligence or machine learning? This is one of the important question comes in our mind. But let me tell you, friends, that this artificial intelligence and machine learning we are not going to study, because as far as this particular soft computing is concerned, we are going just to study these soft computing techniques and are going to use these soft computing techniques using the toolbox, because we are there to study the basics and the key concept of the soft computing techniques only. We are not going to be get in the artificial intelligence or the machine learning. These are the soft computing techniques you can see, and basically in this subject we will study the fuzzy, the artificial neural network, and the genetic algorithm. These are the three soft computing techniques and their combinations, which is known as the hybrid techniques, that we are going to study. So artificial intelligence means if the intelligence has to be induced into the machines is known as the artificial intelligence. So we can say the soft computing is a part of artificial intelligence, but we will study the use of data and the information which we are having related to our problem in it. We are not going beyond that level. All right, so artificial intelligence is very broad area. It has having very wide spectrum, but we will study only the soft computing part, means the data analysis part. Computing, we already know, we have discussed its counting or the calculating, maybe large numbers. Hard computing and soft computing is there. Experimental work, empirical computations are there. Soft computing, the different type of soft computing we will study. So what is the concept of the computing system? So artificial intelligence and the what we can say is the conventional intelligence is there. All right. So soft computing, that is computational intelligence is there. There is fuzzy logic, neural network, evolutionary algorithms, and artificial intelligence, hard computing is also there. So that we will discuss. These are the few key features that can be used. For example, photos to understand the image recognition, image separation, larger data sets or experimental results, if L rules, creativity, and ease in the data management. The last three things are useful to us. The first two is useful for the computer science, the IT, and the communication students. But the last three means use of the data sets, if else rules, creativity, and ease in the data management. This is the basic three advantage that we are going to use. So why artificial intelligence is in the civil? That is advancement in civil engineering. I have told you already. There are three fields in which the advancement in civil engineering is going through. That is in the designs and planning, equipments and machineries, and third is softwares and soft computing. The second reason is the present need for the research, in which the time is reduced but economy is increased. Means, for example, in the surveying software, if you will use the tachymeter or the theodolite or the dumpy level for the level exercise, it will take much huge time. All right, but at the same time, if you will use total station, it will take very lesser time and will provide you the coordinates as well with the in a lesser time with the great accuracy and precision. At the same time, the cost of total station is very high. So that's why the time is reduced when you will use the softwares, but the economy and the what we can say is the cost, it will increase. Why artificial is required? Number of answers are there. The number of relatable answers are there. That why soft computing is used, but few answers are there. That's why the soft computing is used in the engineering solutions, in the research. That is conventional methods, incompetency or inefficiency for larger data management. If we are having number of years of the rainfall and runoff data, it is not possible for us for analyzing all those data and all the available information manually for the number of years. If we are having number of traffic data available with us or surveying data available with us, and we are going analyzing that by the manually or mathematically, it will take a lot of time. So that's why in the larger data management, soft computing can be useful, is useful. Pattern recognition is there, input output correlation can be done. Then third is optimization for the results and data set management. Then time saving and having more efficient results. It is also known as the black box model, the soft computing techniques, because what it is doing, the pure logic behind it, the pure technique behind it, even we don't know, or even the software don't know, but it gives us the results, and those results are very much accurate and precise and as good as the experimental results. Mathematical and conventional or experimental analysis fails in the validation. At the time of validation, sometimes the mathematical and conventional model fails. The experimental data sets cannot give the precise and accurate results. At that time, we can use the soft computing techniques. So these are the number of answers which are useful for us. It is a list of soft computing techniques. In our syllabus, we are having only 3 soft computing techniques. It is used in the wide spectrum of the discipline for the research and the study. But we are having the first 3 soft computing techniques in our syllabus. There are various other soft computing techniques as well. So neural networks and fuzzy logic, these are the 2 well-known and common soft computing techniques. A simple neural network, you can see the neurons, you already know that whatever be anything happens to your body, the neurons transmit it to your brain. The artificial neural network also works on the same principle, that whatever be the input is received from anywhere, it is going to transfer it to the brain. Then fuzzy logic means fuzzy logic works on the partial logic, means whenever a question is asked to you, you have to answer in yes or no, as I have told already. It is known as the Boolean logic or crisp logic. Crisp means rigid, but fuzzy logic means it accepts answer even in the partialness or flexibility. It provides the flexibility. Fuzzy logic provides you the flexibility, and it works on the principle of the probabilistic logic. Means, is it called? So you have to answer yes or no. But if you want to say that yes, it is called, but not that much called, means you have to add some partiality over here. Means you want to be flexible, but if you are not getting that particular flexibility to answer that question in except yes or no, then you have to give only in Boolean logic. But if you want to give some flexible answer, then fuzzy logic provides you that flexibility. It provides you that particular what we can say is the right way to express your views even in the mathematical language. So that is what we mean as a fuzzy logic. So these are the basically three techniques we will study in the detail in the subsequent modules as well. So we will not waste that much time over here. Now comes the soft computing versus hard computing. Let's see a battle. Let's see a fight. Let's see a quarrel between the soft computing versus hard computing. So all these things we have already gone through. Then soft computing versus hard computing. So inputs, output and reasoning means what is the mathematics going behind it, what is the scientific reasons those are going behind it. So in hard computing, the input is complete and exact data, and in soft computing you can use approximate and even incomplete data. That is first benefit. The second is output is overlie exact solution, and in soft computing solution that's good enough. So that is one of the most important key point. The third is the hard computing is based on the rational or the empirical results when you are solving and finding some answers. But soft computing is giving the human-like answers. Alright, so that is one of the thing. The other things of the comparison you can see, the hard computing is a mathematical model or analytical model. Soft computing is tolerant to imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth, approximation, etc. Then hard computing is having binary logic or crisp logic. Means you have to answer yes or no. Alright, if you are having an equation, you are solving the equation, there will be solutions of the equation. Alright, feasible or infeasible, that is different thing. But there will be the solution. So answer will be yes or no, or it will be in the Boolean logic or crisp logic. But in soft computing, there may be some probabilistic or flexibility as well. And even if you are having incomplete data, imprecise data, then also you can use the soft computing techniques. Then in hard computing you have to do some exercise or programs have to be written, but soft computing makes and evolves its own program. When we will do the exercises, then you will come to know about it. For hard computing, two-valued logic is there. For soft computing, multi-valued logic is there. For hard computing, exact input data has to be provided. A strict sequence has to be maintained, because whenever you are doing any mathematical work or experimental work, you have to go step by step. Alright, in a systematic manner. But in soft computing, ambiguous data means even if the data is not arranged, and parallel computation at the same time can be done. But in mathematics, you know, step 2 has to be done by step 1, step 3 has to be done after step 2. But in soft computing, all the steps can be done parallelly, so it will save your time. Hard computing gives you precise answers, and soft computing gives you approximation and approximate answers. But in soft computing, you have to do the iterative process or trial and error to get the perfect answers. Hard computing is known as the white box model, but the soft computing is known as the black box model. So that is one of the important thing, because in hard computing, whatever you are doing is in your pen and paper. You are having the references, you are having the records, whatever the computations you are doing. But in soft computing, the computations are done by the soft computing technique or the software itself. Alright, so that's why it is known as the black box model. There are also few comparisons you can see over here, that parallel computation can be done by soft computing, but sequential is done by hard computing. Alright, hard computing gives exact output and soft computing gives the appropriate output, means that is suitable for your problem. So that is one of the important. Then what are the characteristics? So characteristic is that it does not require any mathematical modeling, means neither the mathematics steps or the systematic steps are required for solving any problem. It gives different solutions when we solve a problem. All right. It uses biologically inspired methodologies such as genetic evolution, particle swarming, the human nervous system, etc. And it is adaptive in nature. So that we have already discussed earlier as well. Then these are also few things we have discussed earlier. Those are known as, those can be referred to as the properties or characteristics. That in the data, in the larger data management it is useful, in the pattern recognition it is useful, for optimization of the results it is useful, in time saving it is useful, and in many problems the black box model is preferred over the conventional model. Mathematical and conventional or experimental analysis fails in the validation, so that is one of the important thing. Then this particular technique is the artificial neural network, means humans, we are biological neural network, BNN. Whatever we do, it is based on some sensibility, and the neurons transfer the messages to our body, and then our brain decides and gives the output. In such a way, the same sequence has been given to a particular machine, that some input we are giving and that machine is analyzing and providing some output. So it is based on that particular way. So you can see one of the example that these are the three what we can say is inputs are being given, and soft computing and the crisp set is being used. So it defines the value between 0 or 1 and defines either value as 0 or 1. So that is one of the important things. So that is the difference between the fuzzy and the crisp. All right, so